At 6:02 p.m., the Amazon box on my porch shivered like it had a heartbeat. Then it ruptured. A glossy, skittering tide poured out, hundreds of cockroaches swarming in one synchronized wave, straight across the lawn, up the walkway, and into the open garage of Marla Yates, HOA president of Birch Ridge and part-time package thief. Her scream hit a note only porch lights could hear. I'm Victor Hale. I teach high school chemistry, mow on Saturdays, and believe in the sacred quiet of a front porch sunset. My vices are crossword puzzles and a bonsai I've kept alive out of pure anxiety. Marla, with her helmet bob, pearl visor, and live laugh litigate energy, runs Birch Ridge like it's a gated kingdom and we're indentured to mulch. She calls herself a brand steward, but we call her the drone whisperer because she pilots a tiny quadcopter to stare at gutters. The woman has turned HOA governance into performance art, sending violation notices for grass that's 0.5 inches too tall and Christmas lights left up past January 2nd. She once fined my neighbor $75 for having the audacity to paint his mailbox navy blue instead of the approved midnight blue. The difference was imperceptible to anyone without a Pantone color guide and too much time on their hands. Packages started disappearing in May. Not just mine, everyone's, but mine seemed to evaporate within minutes of delivery. Doorbell footage showed a brisk figure in a floral blouse and orthopedic ambition, tucking boxes into a collapsible wagon. We filed reports, but she filed courtesy notices citing box blight and unsightly corrugate. She installed a secure package hub in the HOA office, which was really just a converted pool equipment shed, and announced a $15 retrieval fee for inventory handling. No one could retrieve anything. The shed stayed locked, and appointments to collect packages were mysteriously always unavailable. Then I caught her on camera scanning my shipping labels like a librarian checking out my life. When I asked about my missing drone parts, she smiled with that practiced sweetness and said in a condescending tone, "Minimalism looks good on you, Victor." The violations started escalating after I questioned her about the packages. First, my lawn was suddenly too green, which she claimed indicated unauthorized fertilizer use. Then my car was parked 2 inches too close to my own mailbox. She measured it with a ruler in broad daylight while my neighbors watched. The woman had weaponized the HOA handbook like it was the art of war. Every morning brought a new email with subject lines like urgent compliance matter or notice of aesthetic deviation. She once sent me a 3-page document about the improper angle of my garden hose reel, complete with photos taken from multiple angles and a diagram showing the correct 45-degree positioning requirement that apparently existed in subsection 12.4 of our bylaws. The night she took my elderly neighbor's medication delivery and posted a next-door manifesto about controlled substances in flimsy cardboard, I stopped being polite. Mrs. Donnelly was 83 years old and needed those blood pressure pills. Marla's post rambled about pharmaceutical security and community safety, while the poor woman had to get an emergency refill that cost her $200 out of pocket. I filed a report with the Postal Inspection Service and the local police, shared my footage, and was told in the gentle voice used for patients waking from anesthesia to keep documenting. So I documented everything. Every missing package, every wagon wheel squeak at dusk, every smug smile when neighbors asked where their deliveries went. Then the HOA sent me a violation for ornamental decoys because I had placed a fake package on my stoop labeled "Not a Trap." Marla emailed the entire subdivision that porch clutter threatened our property values and suggested we funnel all deliveries through her hub for compliance checks. She had created Birch Ridge Customs, complete with forms to declare package contents and a processing timeline of 3 to 5 business days. The woman was running a suburban fiefdom funded by our HOA dues and sustained by our stolen goods. She even created laminated passes for approved delivery personnel and tried to ban Amazon drivers who didn't comply with her check-in procedures. I started tracking every delivery in the neighborhood through a spreadsheet. Within 2 weeks, I had documented 47 missing packages worth over $3,000. The pattern was clear. High-value items disappeared permanently, while cheap items sometimes appeared at the hub days later with hefty retrieval fees attached. She was running a selective theft ring disguised as HOA protocol. When Tom from Maple Street ordered a new laptop, it vanished. When Susan ordered dish towels, they appeared at the hub with a $20 expedited processing fee because they were oversized. The woman had turned package theft into a business model. I'm not reckless, I'm methodical. I have a friend, June, who designs practical effects for a horror escape room. Within a week, we had a harmless, ridiculous piece of theater. An air pump, fishing line, a pair of scuttling RC cockroaches that looked disturbingly real, and a collapsible liner inside a decoy box primed to burst. Everything would trigger when the box crossed a certain angle, say, lifted off my porch and rolled toward a wagon. No toxins, no living pests. Just an illusion designed to make a thief conduct a fast, tearful inventory of her life choices. The doorbell camera would catch the performance in 4K resolution. Meanwhile, the postal inspector confirmed they were very interested in the package hub and asked me to continue gathering evidence. They mentioned phrases like federal crime and up to 5 years that made me adjust my porch camera, water my bonsai, and wait with the patience of someone who teaches teenagers chemistry for a living. The setup took precision. June and I tested the mechanism 12 times in my garage, adjusting the trigger angle and the burst force until it was perfect. The RC roaches were programmed to scatter in different directions for maximum chaos. We even added a sound chip that created a rustling noise to enhance the effect. The box looked identical to any other Amazon package, complete with legitimate-looking shipping labels I printed myself. The return address was from Pest Be Gone Solutions, which I thought was a nice touch. Inside the fake invoice, I wrote one line: "Sometimes karma has 6 legs and an exoskeleton." Delivery day arrived like Christmas morning for someone who's been very, very patient. The decoy box, allegedly containing silicone spatulas according to the label, landed at 5:58 p.m. I watched from my window as the delivery driver took the photo and walked away, unaware he'd just armed a glitter bomb's uglier cousin. At 6:01, Marla's wagon squeaked into frame like Jaws with a tote bag. She looked left, she looked right, that practiced casual surveillance she'd perfected over months of theft. She scooped the box with the efficiency of someone who'd done this hundreds of times before. Tilt. Click. The liner unfurled, the pump burped, and an avalanche of extremely convincing roaches cascaded over her hands, the wagon, the driveway. The RC scouts zipped toward her garage as if fueled by HOA dues. Marla hurled the box with a shriek that probably registered on seismographs, stepped backward, and collided with her own drone on its charging stand. The drone took off like a startled bird, clipped her visor, and spun like a confused hummingbird through the open garage where a neat stack of everyone's missing packages sat, arranged by house number like she was running a demented post office. The roaches skittered across the pile as the drone camera, still streaming to her HOA Facebook page, captured it all. The stash, her face frozen in horror, her shriek echoing off the garage walls, the label on Mrs. Donnelly's medication clearly visible in the foreground. The live stream had 200 viewers within 30 seconds. Neighbors watched in real time as their missing packages were revealed like a magician's terrible assistant. Comments bloomed like dandelions. "Is that my air fryer?" typed in all caps. Marla explained with 17 question marks. Why roaches from someone who clearly hadn't been following the plot? And the immortal released the hounds with 3 fire emojis that became the unofficial motto of our neighborhood watch. The feed kept rolling as Marla tried to stomp the RC roaches, which were programmed to evade and scatter. She grabbed a broom and started swinging wildly, knocking over boxes that spilled their contents across the garage floor. Someone's KTM mixer crashed onto the concrete. A box of expensive golf clubs tumbled out. Gift-wrapped packages from 3 different baby showers scattered like fallen dominoes. The drone, still spinning from the collision, captured every frame in dizzying detail while auto-uploading to the cloud where it would live forever. Police and a very calm postal inspector arrived within 15 minutes, followed by half the cul-de-sac armed with screenshots and righteous fury. Marla tried to blame an unauthorized prankster with sweat dripping down her face, then pivoted to accuse the teen lifeguards from the community pool, then finally pointed at me with a shaking finger. The inspector, a woman who looked like she'd seen everything and was tired of all of it, pointed to the footage, the stack of stolen goods, and the HOA hub full of more packages. She explained words like mail theft and federal crime with the clinical detachment of someone who got to arrest HOA presidents for a living. The board convened an emergency meeting on the lawn while Marla sat in the back of the police car. The vote was unanimous. Marla was removed as president. HOA funds would be audited by an external firm. The package hub was shuttered immediately, and full restitution would be ordered for all stolen items. The judge, apparently a veteran of HOA skirmishes who said she'd seen everything but this was a new one, assigned Marla 6 months of community service at the city shelter, specifically in the laundry room where the cockroach traps need daily monitoring. She also had to return every package by hand with a written apology on HOA letterhead. But the real consequence came when the federal charges were read. Mail theft, conspiracy to commit mail fraud, and interstate commerce violations. The prosecutor laid out potential sentences totaling 15 years and fines up to $250,000. Marla's face went from red to white to a shade of green that matched her floral blouse as she realized her HOA kingdom had just become a federal case.